Tatsuya Imai signs with the Houston Astros, 3 years, $54 million guaranteed, with some interesting language in the contract, some incentives. We're going to talk about it here on the Windup. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Big shout out to our members. Big member day yesterday. You get access to videos early. They've been getting access to these videos early. Shout out Rat Zone, Zachary Mitchell, MVP Nation, M. Jeffrey, Johnny G, Stimson Skyler, Sheev Palpatine, Kyle, Belladary, Samuela, Evan Sucks at Golf, Brandon Couture, Adam Sortland, Andrew Pagnolo, and Ricky. We appreciate you guys.
Love you guys. But I think this Imai thing is kind of a bit of a shock to the baseball world, but something that we were really a little bit ahead of. That it seems like the market, every Major League Baseball team kind of looked at Tatsuya Imai and said, we don't know if this is going to translate. Like, it's a very strange repertoire. It's not the best stuff in the world. It's much more similar to guys like that we've seen, Kodai Senga and Shota Imanaga, than it is to a guy like Yoshinobu Yamamoto or even Masahiro Tanaka. Like, that's the fact that he couldn't even find a $20 million AAV for more than 3 years is eye-opening, honestly.
Yeah, like when we talked about it on here and even on my channel, we saw like what the projections were for him of like a $200 million contract. We're like, really? Like, not that he can't be good, but $200 million for a guy who really kind of got to that next level last season in Japan. Before, he'd always been a good pitcher.
Last 2 years.
Been a good pitcher, but that got to that next level relatively recently. We were shocked that it wasn't being comped more to the Kodai Senga contract. And then what do you know? It's very, very similar to the Kodai Senga contract.
And especially similar to the Kodai Senga contract in a lot of, like you said at the top, language in that contract and escalators in that contract that are tied to his, not even just his productivity, but physically being on the mound. He gets a $3 million bonus every year, Tatsuya Imai with the Astros, if he goes over 100 innings. And one of those millions, it comes at $80 million. One of those millions comes at, 80 innings, 90 innings, and 100 innings. That, to me, is the Astros saying there's actually possibly some reliever risk in Tatsuya Imai, that we don't want to be paying you if you're not even a full-time pitcher. I think that was also a big point with Kodai when he came over, too. I think there was a lot of reliever risk of him that we're still seeing to this day. But it's, it was, well, also at the same time, on this deal, I love it. I think this is a great move for the Astros.
Yeah.
I think he can be a very reliable mid-rotation guy, and that's exactly what they need.
Yeah, no, this is a great move. Also, because Boris, I believe, is Imai's agent, right? Am I correct in saying that?
I think so.
I think Kikuchi is also Boris' client. And when Kikuchi was with the Astros, that was the best Yusei Kikuchi's ever looked. So from an Astros fit, this is awesome for Tatsuya Imai because clearly they've done well with Japanese pitchers recently. A guy that similar money as well. Yusei Kikuchi got very similar money to what Tatsuya Imai got. And Scott Boras, they got the connection there. This is a great move, though, for the Astros. That rotation, we talked about it, looks really, really bad. And for, let's say Tatsuya Imai has a good year, right? 150 innings, 3.5 to 4 ERA. $20 million a year is so worth it for that team. This could be the difference between the Astros being a playoff team and on the outside looking in.
Oh, 100%. And again, exactly what they needed. This Astros rotation is starved for depth, losing Framber Valdez, which I guess he might still be in play kind of because where his market's going as well, but just behind Hunter Brown, it was chaos. And I don't know. Should we talk even a little more about Imai? Because this might be the first time some of you guys are really hearing about him. And Mark and I, again, we've talked a lot about him. I've talked a lot about him on my own channel. Mark has as well. We've talked a lot about him on Mets Up. It's just, he's going to have probably a good fastball. It's probably going to be a plus fastball. He sat 95 in Japan, but he had a lot of instances where he'd go to 97, 98, 99, a few pitches over 100 when he had to break that out. I think there'll be a little bit more grip and rip it mentality in America. I think he winds up sitting around 96, 97. But the whole thing is that he has this backward slider that people are like, that's kind of the, what should we call it, the lightning rod here with Imai? Like, that's the thing that seems like it's very hard to figure out and why I think some teams were scared.
As lazy as this is like what happens with every Japanese pitcher that comes over. They have one pitch. They have their pitch that is...
Not all of them. One guy didn't.
Well, yeah, one of them didn't. But, like, some of them have a pitch that's so unique. Like, Daisuke came over, he had the gyro ball. Hideo Nomo came over, he had his thing. Kodai Senga's got the ghost fork. Like, Imai's got this backward slider that is so bizarre. Like, even watching it come out of his hands, it doesn't really make that much sense.
It's amazing how much he can spin it. We were talking about the other day that you might get so much top spin when he throws his slider. That's what makes it go in reverse. But the fact that he actually does get arm side movement on a slider, like arm side, not the glove side. Usually all sliders just kind of go with the way you're pitching. Only Dari Moreta and Brock Burke had a slider that averaged at least 1 inch of arm side movement last year with a minimum 100 pitches. I think if I lower that, I'm pretty sure Trey Savage comes into that mix as well. No one no one throws a pitch like this. It doesn't exist. And a big thing about Imai is that he Trey Savage had 3.5 inches of arm side movement.
That's because he throws from up top too, which is so bizarre.
And he kind of comes up top. Imai has the low slot, which that's why people like his fastball. But it's just strange. And sometimes it is. I don't know if there's lazy analysis, or I don't know if there's something we should be holding near and dear to our hearts. If we don't see it working in the major leagues consistently, I'm a little bit skeptical of it. That's why I was skeptical about Imai going in. But still, fine deal that he got here. And also, I think good move by him, probably betting on himself, still only 27 years old. He can be a free agent at 30, and if he does prove that this stuff works, then he can get the mega contract.
Yes, which I think is totally in play. Again, if he sits 96, 97, it's in play. Everything changes. If he sits 94, 95, which is possibility, I think, as well, just because we also know that the environments are different that you pitch in, although pitching a Minute Maid will be good because he's pitching inside, and we know that a lot of times, that was a big thing with Kodai Senga, like climate-controlled playing inside was a huge difference for him. This was one of the few times that he actually played in different types of environments, so that's big for Imai. That's a plus going to Houston. But also at the same time, there definitely is concern because if that fastball's not electric, even with this slider being unique, there still is, I feel like, some doubt of how effective it actually might be to major league hitters.
Definitely. And a big thing with Imai is, again, he took a big step forward the last 2 years. As he took that step forward in the MPB, it was by him shaving down his repertoire. He had a splitter he used. He has a changeup. He's been messing around with a Vulcan grip changeup that kind of spins like a sinker. It's got good fade on it. But those are pitches that he's phased out as he's improved. 93% fastballs and sliders to right-handed batters last year in the MPB. And as he's gotten better, the big thing that Imai got better with was his command and limiting walks. He was a 10% walk rate guy when he first started pitching the MPB. He got that down to a manageable rate the last few years. That's kind of gotten him this like star potential-ish, at least star credit in the MPB. If he has to add those pitches back to the repertoire, and I assume he will definitely be adding pitches back to his repertoire. I just don't think he could be. I just don't think he'd be 95%. It was almost 70% too against lefties. Just again the fastball and the slider. So if he adds those pitches back and then he can't really command them, but he's still able to get lefties sometimes, like it becomes. It's not a one-to-one comparison, but similar to what happened with Clay Holmes last year. We had to show more pitches to the lefties just to show he had them, even though they weren't good pitches. And Imai's pitches can be plus, but if you can't command them, like I'm very curious about how he winds up these next few years.
And of course, there's going to be development. This is a contract where they're going to be making improvements. Again, if you would have saw the $200 million, people would have thought that Imai's got what he's got, and we know that it's there, and maybe a few tweaks to fine-tune things. But we're confident that this guy's going to be good because it's a shorter-term deal. It's going to sound crazy because it's at most $21 million a year. Like, this is kind of the risk. Perfect. It's perfect for both sides. And if Imai is good, he will get that mega contract. You look at the pitchers getting similar AAV, they're all kind of in that same tier of like, we know they're major league pitchers. We think that they're going to be consistent enough to stay in a rotation. It's just the fluctuation of how good or bad they could be in a given year.
And the floor is still probably quite good, just simply because he's going to sit 96, 97. Like that, it's hard to buy 96, 97 for under $20 million in general for a starting pitcher.
The Mets signed Frankie Montas to more money per year last year. So
technically the same, $17 million a year before the additions. True. Yeah. So I think and also, it's kind of telling that a lot of these teams seem to be out on Imai. The fact that the Mets and the Yankees, who both could really use some starting pitching, especially any with a glimmer of upside, were like, no, the Orioles traded a heap of prospects to get Shane Baz, seemingly instead of as a kind of like an opportunity cost versus Tatsuya Imai. But like the 96, 97 is still very relevant, even though I don't know how the fastball shape looks when he switches balls from Japan coming over here. It's just this is going to be very interesting. This is a fascinating moment for us.
I do wonder if there is the thing that, like, when we spoke with Kodai Senga on Mets stuff, when we got to interview him, talked about, like, the environments were a big thing. And then throughout watching the Mets season, you saw that playing in different environments, playing in the cold, it definitely had an effect on him early on. Imai played indoors. Like, the Cebu Lions play in an indoor stadium. I wonder if that's maybe part of the reason why the Mets and Yankees aren't interested, too, is, like, we can't go through this again.
Also, this is probably a situation where Imai had similar offers on the table and got to pick and choose a little bit. Like,
also that as well, yes.
Like, again, if he has a relationship with Yusei Kikuchi, he can say, yeah, the pitching infrastructure there, even though the Astros have a different pitching coach now than when Yusei was there 2 years ago. But that's an advantage. Like, if you have similar offers around and you're a guy like Imai who knows you have some development to do, I want to go to a place where I can trust that development to happen.
There was also something, too, that came from Yahoo in Japan talking about that the White Sox were linked to Imai and that it seemed like they were going to be possibly a fit, but one of the major hurdles was that Imai doesn't want to play for a team that's not trying to win or isn't a team that can win. And Astros whether we think they're a real contender or where they land, they're in that range of teams that are good still.
Oh, and this, again, we said at the top, this catapults the Astros.
Yes.
Because that's not us saying that Imai is an ace. I think it's pretty clear at this point he probably is not. But the fact that their rotation before signing Tatsuya Imai after Hunter Brown was Christian Javier, Lance McCullers, Mike Burrows.
Yikes.
And then Spencer Arrighetti, which I still like Spencer Arrighetti, but that is you can't go to the playoffs with that. And kind of a lack of depth relative to Astros teams of the past. This now for them is just such an easy fix, plug and play right in the middle. And again, it does make you wonder why these teams like the Mets, the Yankees, the Orioles, the Red Sox, maybe not the Red Sox much anymore, probably still where were they in this? Because we've heard the Mets and Yankees were not even close, not even considering.
Which is kind of insane. Again, like looking at this Mets rotation, at this price point, I love Imai. I'll take all the risk that comes with him. I'm not
100%.
Like there's a world where he's awesome. There's a world where he's bad. There's a world where he's in the middle. I don't care. It's $18 million as much as $21 million a year. And if he's hitting those escalators, he's throwing 100 innings in the year. That's probably because he's looking pretty decent. Like that's almost like the happy to pay that tax in a way.
There's only 87 right-handed pitchers last year in baseball who threw at least 50 four-seam fastballs that average 96.5 miles per hour. Like, that's it. Like, even just to buy the velocity, it feels very worth it. And, like, just to give a scroll right now, with the pitchers in the similar AAV bucket to Tatsuya Imai, again, it's guys like Frankie Montas, Taijuan Walker. Like, he was signed as a mid-rotation guy. Like, pitching just is very expensive in baseball.
Shaman and I got paid way more.
Way more. That might have been
Luis
user error more
Severino.
so than anything else. Luis Severino got paid way more. Again, that was also a velocity bet. This is like Shota. Gosman's contract is one of the best in baseball.
Yeah,
the contract Kikuchi's on now. Merrill Kelly just got 4 for 80.
Yeah,
didn't he? No, he didn't get 4 for 80.
No,
he got 2 for 40.
Yeah, he got 2 for 40.
Similar deal, like the Eduardo Rodriguez contract that we talked about, that he was 4 for 80. Like this is the Jose Barrios extension. Like this is the range. Like it's
when Chris Bassett got paid, that's how much he was getting paid. He was making like $17-18 million a year.
Michael Wacha's on 3 for 51. Like that's basically what this deal is before the escalators. It's again fascinating, crazy, very big shock too. Also a good lesson to us that sometimes teams do things we're not expecting. Like the Astros weren't linked to Imai anywhere until that Heyman report from a few days ago where he linked the Braves. And there was one mention of the Astros being involved too. It just seems like they kind of play the market and he had trust and it just wound up being something that worked out.
Yeah, good move for the Astros. Interested to see what Imai looks like again. That slider, it doesn't make any sense to me, and I don't know how it doesn't get torn apart by major league hitters.
Might be nasty though.
Yeah, but also maybe it is.
It might be nasty. And also, this could be a thing similar to Shota. This could work well, much better in year 1 than year 2, when there is a little bit less exposure against him. And again, different than Shota, he throws 97, 98. Like that's Shota throws 92. Like this is, I think the floor on Imai is fine just because of that, and he rips that slider in the high 80s as well. Like there'll be something there, but I just probably a home run problem, and very curious about where that splitter comes.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's happening. Big shout out to you guys. Happy New Year to everybody out there. We were not planning on recording today, but hey, we got it done. New location unlocked for James. Fits the warm tones I got going on in my parents' basement right now.
Yeah, right. So I've done windups in England, Scotland. Now this is California, so we're crossing off a lot of locations for the windup.
Go coast to coast on the windup. That's what you guys get. Again, appreciate you all for watching and supporting what we do over here. Make sure you do subscribe to the windup. If you want to follow James, you can follow him at
James Shiano.
I'm Giraffe Neck Mark. Happy New Year's. We'll catch you guys probably. Oh wait, we have a members only video up right now that will eventually be live to everybody. But if you want to watch it, go sign up to be a member. We appreciate all you guys, and that's it, right, James? That's it.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Happy New Year, everybody.
We'll see you guys. Peace out.